South Dakota is known for its rodeo stars. Tom Reeves has won numerous Saddle Bronc championships, including a world title back in 2001 and a member of the ProRodeo Hall of Fame. Tom, good to visit with you.
Yeah, same here, Dwight. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Of course, you're not competing anymore, but you're still very, very busy.
Yeah, we are. We started a youth program in 2018, my wife Casey and I, and it's kept us real busy. I actually started it in a little village on a reservation, Red Scaffold, South Dakota. I come home I was doing construction. I moved home and got rid of my construction business, and I started a youth program, and everybody thought I was crazy. I got some sponsors and started working with kids, and everybody told me there weren't no cowboys left around here, and I said, no, there's nobody working with them to be cowboys. And so I said, you just got to slow everything down. So I did. I'd go to brandings and things like that, and I just got donations and doing it. And I started it in the spring in May, April or May, and they said there's no bronc riders left around there. That fall at the fair, I had 30 young guys getting on saddle broncs for a rookie bronc ride, and about the same getting on miniature bulls and barebacks. And they're all from that area.
A great mentoring program.
Yeah, we've done this all over the United States. In 2019, we did 53 live performances from Oregon and New York. We're just now getting them guys. Like the other day at North Platte, I'm jumping around here, but at North Platte, a third of the rough stock guiders had come through our youth program. That's a pretty substantial number.
And Tom, you're from the Eagle Butte area.
Yeah, I grew up there on a reservation. I'm enrolled at Cheyenne River, and I grew up right on the Missouri River. My dad and mom had a ranch down there right on the river, and if you could cross the river, it'd be about only 30 miles from Pier. And we live about 45 miles from Eagle Butte, southeast. It's a very good place to grow up. I have nothing but great memories. I went to Indian boarding school and started school in Indian boarding school when I was 5, and we did the Indian boarding school till we were 8th grade. Or whenever we went out for sports, we pretty much had to check ourselves in the dorm, but nothing but good memories. I really enjoyed it. It was a very good way to train for riding bucking horses and rodeoing all across the United States. That's all I've ever wanted to do since I was 5 years old. I wanted to be a world champion bronc rider, and everything I did, and it revolved around that. And we grew up breaking and training horses and working cattle and just being cowboys, and it was a natural fit. At that time, in our school in the area, there were 300 kids in our school, and 100 of them were on the rodeo team, and there's 25 of those 100 rode saddle broncs. That was the difference then and now. I mean, there were no four-wheelers, and there were no phones like there are now. That changed a lot of things, speeding that progress up and everything, and a lot of things that hurts kids, and especially young men, on how they can prove themselves, and being a cowboy and ranching, and there's ways for young men to prove themselves, and where it helps them inside, so I mean, when you work with horses and things like that, it's just so good for young people. Like they say that the outside of a horse is good for the inside of a man. That's very true.
Tom, take us through that rookie season.
I turned pro when I was 16 on a permit, and my first year in the permit, I made the Badlands Circuit Finals, and I placed in 2 of the 3 rounds. I was 16 years old, and seriously, Bud Monroe and John Macbeth both signed for my permit. That's how they did it back then. If you had enough experience and background to go into the pros, you could have somebody sign for you. But as far as I know, in the rough stock, I'm the very youngest guy that ever come in and did something like that. And then I turned pro when I was 17, and I was runner-up that year. And I look back, and it was a heck of a learning experience to me. I relied on somebody to enter me, and I won second. I missed out on it. I don't like saying the word loss, because I didn't lose nothing. I gained a season getting mentored by some of the best guys in our industry. So to say it was a bad year is pretty being self-absorbed, if that makes sense. It was a very good opportunity. I was runner-up, but I learned I really hated to lose, for one thing, but I learned on what I could have done better to win, and that really set me off to start training and do all my own entering, and other than Dan Mortensen entered me a little bit when I rodeoed with him, he's the only other guy that ever entered me. That made an impact on me to take care of my own business and be the master of your own destiny. So I always run the crew when we rodeoed, and I handled all the business. And if I was going to make any mistakes, I was going to be the one that was responsible and take credit for winning or losing, and that's just the way I liked it. And it worked out good for me. Rodeo's been so good to me. I owe the industry a lot.
Your goal was to win a world title. That happened in 2001. How'd that feel?
It's pretty overwhelming, actually. I've been, 32 years pretty much, because as soon as I was able to realize what a world champion bronc rider, and I grew up in bronc riding country. If you didn't ride broncs where I grew up, you weren't nothing. And I hate to talk like that, but that was the big thing to do, was ride saddle broncs where I grew up. Everybody in high school rode saddle broncs, and amateur rodeo was big, and amateur rodeo just didn't fit me, though, from the start. I still to this day speak against it because my experience was so great never doing an amateur rodeo. And so we train kids and send them right to the pros immediately to get a permit. That's one of the big things I do now. I advocate a lot for PRCA, and I love the PBR too, and WCRA. There's a lot of good things going on out there in pro rodeo. It's better than it's ever been. Our horses are outstanding in our industry, and so that's a big thing we do too in the Wild Horses Building Champions, is we train kids to go straight to the pros. And a lot of people say, well, you need to go learn how to ride. And I learned how to ride in the pros. I said, it didn't hurt me any. I'm in the Hall of Fame. I won the world. I won the average. I won everything. And I won the high school finals twice. One of the reasons I won the high school finals twice is I just thought I was riding against Howard Hunter and Tom Miller and Clint Johnson and Brad German, so that was my mindset. I figured I had to ride at that level, so when you drop me down to a youth organization, it was, I ain't going to downplay any of those, because there's a lot of great guys I was riding against that made it into the pros too, but my early success was because of turning pro quick, and I would like every other kid in our industry in the United States, in the world, to have that opportunity. And I don't think there should be a such thing as an amateur rodeo. I really don't. I think our whole industry ought to be ABCD leagued and just roll them up to the top. And the reason for that is I think we lose a lot of kids for not getting the right coaching, or going to bad college coaches, or bad equipment, or bad coaches or stock contractors putting kids on too tough of horses. If they're not background good enough, you're going to hurt them. And so that's another thing we do. We protect kids in our industry, and that's why we're getting such great numbers. The last school we did, we had, I think, 75 kids, and Marty Barnes and Chancey Wilson from Muddy Creek come and helped us, and Bud Lombrake and Lance Leismeister. They come and helped us, and we put on a heck of a school, and it was phenomenal. We had an event in Oglala, Nebraska. As far as numbers go, it was the largest rough stock event in the history of the PRCA as far as numbers. And anyway, we're pretty proud of the things we're doing, and I got a good team. It is not just me. I got great pickup men. Everything we do is top notch, and it's not just me. My wife, Casey, is really smart. She's an attorney. She's very good with paper, and best I ever seen. I'd like to introduce her on here. Casey, this is my wife, Casey Reeves.
Hello.
We're talking about the youth program, and and the pro rodeos and things we're doing. We also got a pro card too. I forgot to mention that. And the main reason I bought it is to bring our rodeo card, PRCA rodeo card, stock contracting card, to bring kids up the right way through our industry. And we're having phenomenal success. I'm very proud of our team and proud of my wife for helping me.
Well, Tom, it sure was great to visit with you today, and
Yeah.
congratulations again on everything in your whole career, and as it continues, we appreciate your time to visit here on Black Hills TV.
Appreciate you, Dwight.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.